Yo, it's looking pretty bad right now. China just gave the middle finger to US, and there's a couple clips that I'm gonna go over. Let's go into these details right now.
China is fully prepared to fight to the very end because the world is big enough that the United States is not the totality of the market in the world. So if the United States wants to go in that direction of completely shutting itself out of the China market, be my guest.
Yeah, and China will lose the US market, which, as I've said, is 15%.
We don't care. We don't care. China has been here for 5,000 years. Most of the time, there was no United States, and we survived. Right. And if the United States wants to bully China, we will deal with the situation without the United States. And we expect to survive for another 5,000 years.
Trump's plan is backfiring right now. He just put a pause to electronic devices, phones. That saved Apple a little bit, but already we see the market is not completely happy. The market went up, now we're getting a little bit of pullback, and that's because China said, we don't care. We've been here for 5,000 years. We're gonna be here for 5,000 more years, whether we're gonna be playing with US or not. There's a big enough global marketplace for our products. You know what's even crazier? Chinese producers are all over TikTok and the internet right now undercutting US.
Chinese producers are all over social media right now, and they're exposing just who is targeted by Trump's tariffs. And it's not the American consumers, and it's not the Chinese producers. It's actually our international corporations who have sold out American prosperity for their own profits. Let me illustrate. Let's use this example, Nike. Now, these are fictitious numbers, just for example. But let's say that Nike buys shoes from this company that manufactures Nike shoes for $10 a Nike shoe, which isn't very far off. Nike turns around and sells that shoe at retail for $100. Here's the interesting part about tariffs. You're not paying tariffs on the retail price. This is not a tax in the classic sense. The way the economists who are bought and paid for are trying to conflate it as. It is a tax on the import. This means with a 25% tariff, Nike's going to have to pay $2.50 to the US government every time it imports a Nike shoe at $10. So this $2.50 gets remitted to the American government, to American citizens. Now Nike's cost $10 for the shoe, $2.50 for the import tax. This means they're netting $87 per shoe. Now that's net, not profit. There are going to be other costs that are going to have to come from that. But you can see that the increase in cost is $2.50. So let's say that Nike passes the entire cost onto the consumer, even a little more just because of the fear of tariffs. $103 a shoe now. That is the impact of a 25% tariff. So what the Chinese producers on TikTok are saying, instead of the American consumer buying it for $103, or let's just say that the company Nike eats all $2.50 of the tariff and still sells it for $100, you're way better off over here, paying directly to China, including the tariff, $12.50 a shoe plus shipping. So as you can see,
wow. So Louis Vuitton, Gucci, the second richest man in the world, Bernard, whatever his name is, that guy is about to feel the pain. But also, US is going to feel the pain because Nike's not going to get away with selling $100 shoes. Lululemon, they're not going to get away. You see, now China is going direct to US saying, just buy from us. In fact, they passed this law in China where you can come in visa-free for 280 hours and do some shopping. They're encouraging tourism. And this is genius because Americans love spending money and they love deals. So why would they be buying direct when everyone just realized, why the heck am I gonna be paying thousands of dollars for luxury goods, Gucci, Birkin bags? And you know what made in Italy even means? It means China did 99% of the manufacturing. They send it over to Italy and Italy just puts in that Birkin bag or whatever, the Chanel, they put in the logo and there you have it. It's made in Italy, but it's not really. So everyone is realizing this, and this is a really huge issue. The last video I made, Ray Dalio basically said that he's very concerned about the US market and something even worse than recession. Think about it. A recession is just 2 quarters of GDP decline. It's nothing. It's 6 months of just waiting. But he's actually afraid of something even worse happening in the economy. And I put a 5 to 15% chance of this, but from what I'm seeing on social media and from the actual chess game that China is playing back with the US, US, folks, this is not really looking that good for the US stock market.
China is going to win this trade war for one reason and one reason only, and I do not see it being covered on the news, and that is leverage. China does not have manufacturing plants in the United States. However, the United States, our companies have manufacturing plants in China. So what is it that China imports from the United States? Soybeans, wheat, rice, agricultural produce, which they can get from pretty much any other country. China does not need the United States. We, however, are highly invested in and committed to China because we have our plants there. And so for our US companies to move our manufacturing back to the United States, or any other country for that matter, it costs billions of dollars. It takes several years. You have to pass zoning. You have to pass the vote from the citizens that live in the area. It's a lengthy, expensive process. Not to mention the fact that Donald Trump has been so inconsistent on his tariff policy. Why would any US company trust what he has to say regarding trade policy?
All right, one huge comment. We have huge issues. However, I do believe the reason why Trump is erratic, or looks like he's erratic with the policies, is not because he's confused or he's stupid. He's definitely not stupid. What's going on is he's trying to play a chess game. He's trying to do some scare tactics. He's trying to put on some big tariffs, put them back, put some more tariffs on, and he's going back and forth. And that's because there is no playbook, guys. There's no playbook. This is a once in a lifetime thing. This is something that prior presidents should have done, but they didn't have the guts to do it, because it's a very difficult thing. And I have respect for Trump to do this, but this is very dangerous for the economy, because balancing out a trade war with China, who we're extremely reliant on, who are also reliant on us, but you can see how there's a lot of things that Trump, the government, wasn't really prepared for. China buys things from US, but they can also go to different suppliers. US isn't really shipping, other than soybeans, but you can buy some of the agricultural products elsewhere. So the situation that's shaping up right now is a very dangerous situation. To wrap up this video and show you the difference in the price discrepancy between the goods, we looked at a Nike example where you go directly to the Chinese manufacturers, $10 instead of 100. But it's an even more insane price tag for some of the luxury goods, Hermes. And I want to watch a quick video because I think this is going to have a huge impact on GDP in US, because the luxury spending actually makes up a huge portion of GDP. You see, everyday people, which is a majority of people who have 9-to-5 jobs, etc., we don't get it. A lot of people don't understand that really rich people spend money like complete idiots sometimes because they can. And that's actually phenomenal for the economy. It's really good when people who have money go spend a lot of that money in the US. And now, if they're not spending the huge amount of dollars, that's going to be an issue.
This is why this bag from our factory only costs you 1,000 USD.
Have y'all seen that TikTok by the Chinese guy exposing how luxury goods are actually made? Basically, he says most of the luxury brands we use every day are actually made in China, then shipped to Europe just to get rebranded and sold back to us at insane prices. Like a wedding ring that would cost $2 in China somehow turns into a $2,000 ring. China is the world's biggest manufacturing hub. 80% of your Gucci, made in China. 60% of your Prada, also made in China. Even Chanel, Fendi, Louis Vuitton, Adidas, Nike, you name it. The only real difference? China ships the products to Europe, slaps on a Made in France or Made in Italy label, and boom. Luxury? It's ridiculous. While people are out here clowning Shein and Temu for being cheap and low quality.
Although I say in all my videos, dollar cost average, buy stocks, sell puts, covered calls, I think it's going to be kind of smart to still do that, but be a bit more cautious, raise a little bit of cash more than usual, because right now I think there's going to be volatility in the market, and this next 90 days is going to be very crucial. If you want more updates, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel, and if you want to learn how to sell put options, I'm going to leave a video for you right here.